Hey there, beautiful ones. Mm, nice to see you. Nice to feel you. Mm. Yeah, I want to talk to you about devotion today and my experience with the topic, and particularly how I find it interesting and sometimes strange as a male bodied being to want to have the same kind of relationship with another man that I have with a woman that I am, romantically interested in, for example. This is just like one example. And I came to this several times in my life, especially over the last few years, when I've met some men in my life where I was like not physically attracted, not sexually attracted, but like in love with this other being. And in the end, I wound up feeling like kind of heartbroken because I expressed my desire for deep intimacy and care and to be with them, and it was like they weren't interested in that, and they literally told me that like I'm thinking of two different people, two different beings, um, that they didn't have time for that. That wasn't something they wanted to put their energy into at this moment, and da da da. And I found it interesting because in both instances, both men then soon after wound up like finding a partner, and I seen how they became like so close and intimate and loving and caring and connected with the woman that they had met, and it baffled my mind, like why why are they not able to be that way with me? And I don't know if I didn't really go into it more with them. I just was with it with myself, and I still feel to this day that there is for sure room for that, and I have found a couple of men in my life that I feel I'm able to have that kind of a connection with. And I guess it was mutual that we both wanted that, and so we continue to nourish that connection and give it time and give it our attention, give it our love, give it our affection. And I don't care what relationship you're working on or part of or struggling with or whatever, but tell me a relationship that doesn't benefit from you putting your love and care and attention and affection into. Every relationship does. And I also noticed it with children, that like a man that I feel like kind of separated from, disconnected from, because there's not this willingness to have to share intimacy. And then a child comes and I see that being just turn into someone like completely different in a way, in the sense that they're unconditionally loving and present and affectionate and warm and understanding and compassionate and have empathy, all these things. And the point of what I'm bringing up here is how men are so separated in general in society. I mean, look at our leaders. Look at the, heads of major corporations, for example, and their subordinates. Do they have that same relationship? And I guess I wonder, and I know, and somehow I have an inner knowing that it would be absolutely majestic and beautiful to witness all beings getting along this way, because I feel like it's at the end of the day it's a choice, right? Like I chose to invite some beings into my life in that way, and it was met with a no, and it was okay. I understood that they had their reservations and their reasons, and that was fine. But imagine, and of course, we don't have to open ourselves to everyone, right? we need to conserve our energy and um yeah, be fully in love before we can, or I don't know, is it that we open ourselves to being loving, and then love, like real true love, is what unfolds. That's kind of the way I think I view it, but you may view it differently, and feel free to comment or share about how you see, unconditional love, commitment, freedom, biggest um, transformations that we often go through is finding our balance, as the masculine finds its balance between commitment and freedom, and the feminine is always moving toward unconditional love. And so I just see a future, a world where everyone can be unconditionally loving. Of course, you know, it can be where perhaps you become more intimate with certain beings because you spend more time around them, etc. But I do feel that, I guess I'll close with saying, like, there's a certain mask or costume that's put on when, some people, when they go into the business world, for example. Like, I go to the mechanic shop and I'm met with this, what feels like kind of a harsh energy most times. And I realize that I have found some mechanics actually that are a little bit more heart open and intimate. And then that's why I continue to work with them, because I've met mechanics, I don't want to solely say about mechanics, but like essentially when you go out into the workplace and you meet someone, how are they when you meet them? Are they really open, or are they closed, or are they like, like, how are we with one another in a daily basis? I think that for me is one of the ways that we'll see really change in the near future, or it's already starting to change, because I actually have had a mechanic who opened up to me intimately and shared about some pain that he was having and some emotional. And like, this guy, I never thought that I'd hear that from him. He seemed like a really, like a tough macho guy, and da da da. But I think in meeting me, and I don't know, perhaps because I am a pretty heart open person, that he felt safe to then open his heart and share, a little bit more than about the broken part on the car. So yeah, I invite you to just kind of feel into, how are you in your relationships, not only with your decidedly intimate relationships, but with all your relationships. And do you hold yourself back, or do you keep some people away on purpose? And what is that purpose? Are you afraid? Do you think that you don't have the time for that, or that, maybe you don't like that person? Or, I'm just curious about the reasons why people decide to be intimate with some people and not with others, and the result of that being a society that's kind of compartmentalized. And at the end of the day, there is this huge feeling of separation in general. And my goal is to bring about unity in this world and oneness, because I feel like we all are part of this same ocean of love. And that this separation, or this, like, yeah, I can't be intimate with you, I got no time for that, or, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of gets in the way of us moving toward the ocean in a way. Um, that's just my experience, and felt to share that. And curious, how that lands for you, and what you imagine the world might be like if we shared the same level of openness and intimacy with everyone. And I think that the reason why we don't is because we don't trust everyone. And it's right. We should not trust everyone today. But I trust that we're moving toward a future where we can trust everyone, And it really starts with trusting yourself and deciding to give everyone a chance, you know, to be that intimate and that close to you. And of course, some people will not be worthy of being that close to you, and you'll have to like maybe move them out of your life or express to them why you don't feel safe with them, for example. This is like a reason why I could understand not wanting to be intimate with somebody. You don't feel safe with them, you don't trust them, etc. So yeah, but I just find it interesting that I find it difficult to connect with men in a certain way, and I feel like they have maybe some armor on, protecting themselves, and then I see them get into a relationship with a woman, and all the armor comes off, and they're so in love, and they're making love, and then like some weeks or months later, the relationship ends usually, and or they have some difficulties, etc. And I'm like, what would have been different if we were, like intimate that way? Like we wouldn't have had sex, and maybe we would have built trust, in a slower, more um, healthy way. But yeah, here we are at 11 minutes. Mwah.